judges I think we had this year, and then they were voted on by the public through our website. And I'm Ryan Groves. I'll be your MC today. I'm also the co-founder and CTO of Infinite Album, where we use AI to generate music for video games that reacts to video games, and we allow Twitch streamers to interact with their audience through music. Yes, and we have some virtual, we have our teams actually in our virtual green room over here. So welcome. Hi, everybody online. Good to see everybody. Yeah, and so because we're a music contest, I wanted to kick it off with some more examples of some of our entries. So let's roll some more of those. Can we roll the next mashups? All right, so we wanted to take a moment just to thank our sponsors and partners. So first of all, thank you Wallifornia for hosting us here today at the Wallifornia MusicTech Summit. They've been a fantastic partner and it's afforded us this fantastic studio. Additionally, our diamond sponsor this year was One Sony, so Sony Music, Sony Music Publishing, and Sony Computer Science Laboratories all combined together to support us to be the diamond sponsor. So thank you, Sony. I think they're back in the audience here. Additionally, our gold sponsor was Ominotes. Ominotes is the #1 music game publisher in the world for mobile games. So they also have an initiative for music education and are using cool AI tools and doing music interaction. So thank you, Ominotes, for sponsoring us as a gold sponsor. And then additionally, we had a sort of handful of silver sponsors help us out. So Replicate enabled us to put our AI models online. Amsterdam Music Lab helped us with voting and web development and also afforded us this amazing gentleman over here, Ashley Burgoyne. Voctro Labs is contributing sort of one of our floating prizes, and my company Infinite Album has also helped fill in the gaps here and there. So yeah, with that said, I wanted to move on to our prizes. So we have prizes for the top 3 entries, but we also have one floating prize. So Voiceful, Voctro Labs has offered to create a synthetic voice for one of the teams. So that will be one of the prizes. And then let's see we have some pictures here for our 3rd place prize and 3rd through 1st. So let's see what we got for 3rd place. So for 3rd place team, we'll get a Doubler Studio Kit 2, which is a studio kit that enables you to beatbox with a microphone and convert your voice immediately into MIDI, essentially. Really cool piece of technology that uses some machine learning principles there. 2nd place, move to the next slide. 2nd place will be a Native Instruments Complete Virtual Instruments Bundle, sponsored by our gold sponsor, Ominotes. And last but certainly not least, we have our 1st place prize, which is our first ever AI Song Contest Artist Residency, which is a sponsored residency hosted by Sony CSL Labs in Paris for 2 weeks, also as part of our sponsorship. So thank you again, Sony. So that'll be on site for our 1st place winner. So we're very excited to offer these new opportunities for our artists. And I think we have one more mashup to show of more of our entries. So let's roll that. Awesome. So one additional new initiative we took on this year was a mentoring program that was spearheaded by Anna Huang. And Anna is joining us remotely. So Anna, maybe you could tell us more about it. Could we get the Zoom call back up on the screen? All right, magic.
Thank you, Ryan, for the introduction. So I'm Anna Huang, one of the organizers of the song contest. Yeah, it's amazing to see all the teams here and the variety of entries. And I think all of you experienced that preparing an entry is not easy. There's so much to juggle and there's so many unknowns in this human AI co-creative process. So this year we decided to start a mentoring program so that teams that participated in the past years could really share the experience with the new teams. We also invited other experts and scientists and artists in the field to help out. And we're very grateful for all the mentors who helped us. So right now I'm going to read out a few shout outs from the teams that want to thank their mentors. And then we'll also have a pair of mentor and mentee come share their experience with us. So first the shout outs. So from Ingnan, from Team Expecto Patronum, many thanks to our mentor Ian, who provided many new and brilliant ideas in adapting the AI model to ancient Chinese poems and traditional Chinese music. Nietzsche from Team Art Intelligence. Thank you, Yotam, for such a memorable and...
Anna for introducing us. So hello, everyone. I'm Yuxuan Wu, and now I'm speaking for our team 3+I. The three here represent our three human members. We have Yusong Wu from University de Montreal, and Yi Deng from NYU, and myself, who comes from CMU. So we were all greatly into the field of music and AI, and we knew each other from a long time ago. So you may have listened to our track A2I. We made this song together with our fourth member, the I, which means his or her name is intelligence. We don't know his or her gender, let's say he here. He was just so amazing that he composed most of the song, wrote all the lyrics, and even played violin for us. And actually, this is a song about himself. Like intelligence was very young and childish once. And then he turned radical about human beings as he's growing up. And after a lot of thinking and struggling, intelligence finally learned to love and now can get along well with us humans. Well, except all three other guys of us here are doing things very slow. We have a really, really serious procrastination. We were like stuck for quite a long time making hard decisions about where to go and what to do until we met our great mentor, Soda. Soda is also here. She did a very great job in last year's contest and she shared a lot of valuable experience with us. We had regular discussions with her and she was the one that really pushed us forward and forward. She would set homework for us every week, which always pointed to the right direction. And yeah, she really pushed us back on track and finally we did a job. And another very important thing is that she's a great listener, you know. when you're developing your own idea, it's actually quite easy to get biased. You just love what you do or hate what you do for no reason. And Soda has been a great listener and advisor from an objective view. And that really helped a lot during the creation process. So thank you so much, Soda. We're very grateful that you were there to help.
Yeah, thank you, team, for sharing your experience. And now we have Soda from last year's South Korean team, Han, who the entry was many of jury's favorite. Please welcome Soda.
Hello, this is Soda Mojito, the music producer from Han. It is a big honor for me to take part in the AA Song Contest this year again. AI Song Contest was a very meaningful experience for me, especially in the aspects of sharing various visions with global experts and being able to introduce Korea's unique emotion, Han, in our own way. That's why I'm so happy that I participated as a mentor in this year's contest. Since all members' abilities were outstanding, I thought it was my role to organize and be a pacemaker in each step. I believe that there is no one answer in the creation area, so I didn't want to intrude on their own creation. Rather, I focused on giving opinions in basic details or wide outlines. So I gave weekly homework to them, and they always achieved beyond my expectation. Last year's experience was so helpful in organizing each step. Sharing our team's creation process helped to set a progressive direction for 3 plus I team. And also, as I have references for each stage, which is ours, the communication went more smooth. I believe that learning is always for others to create a better future. Sharing your knowledge is helpful to others and yourself as well. I learned a lot of things in this session as well, and gladly encourage our great 3 plus I team to be a mentor next year as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Soda, for sharing your experience and for supporting the team. As Soda said, we encourage all of you to be mentors next year because your experience, like on the ground, this practical experience is really, really helpful for teams. So next up, we're gonna move back into the studio and Vincent will show us the next step in our ceremony.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna, for presenting that. I think it's that part is very important part of the community of the AI Song Contest. So I have the honor to present the public vote, and I can tell you that this year we had 46 entries to the AI Song Contest, which is the highest number of entries we had ever. And this year we started with a semi-final round in which 22 judges narrowed the field down to 15 finalists. And we sent the finalists of these 15 to a public vote. And the public voted and scored these songs on 4 categories. So how much did they like the song, how original it was, whether they thought they would recommend it to a friend, and whether it could be performed live. So let's see what almost 4,000 voters thought of these songs. So the public favorite was Ai Lalelo by Pemp. And they're here.
Yeah, so can we get you to come up here and talk to us for a minute? Yes, come here, please. The camera can't see you if you're not behind the line.
Okay, thanks. Well, it is an honor to be here and to share the process, the Ai Lalelo, because Ai Lalelo is tradition and innovation in our country. We are representing Galicia with this song, but it is a entry composed by 6 people that it's not, but they aren't there today. But it's Marta Verde, Juan Alonso, Xandre Outeiro, Sofía Oriana, David Santos, myself. and I, sorry, sorry if I mix Galician and English. My English is a bit poor, but this is my assistant, so, well, more or less I understanding. So this is our entry. I have no word, so.
Well, we can't vote this. This is still just the public vote. We haven't added the jury vote yet, but. But
it's the most important one.
It's the most. Do you have a secret to writing this song with the help of AI that the public loves so much that they think it's better than any other submission?
If it's a secret, we can't tell you.
If it's a secret, you can't tell us. Okay. Look, thank you so much. Congratulations on behalf of myself and all of the organizers, and. We hope you're excited to see what the jury thought too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So some of you who are here in the studio, some of you who are here online may have noticed, wait, we didn't see ourselves in the mashups yet. And that's because as part of our judging process, we invited every one of our jurors, the 22 who were participating in the semifinal round and the who participated, the 7, who participated in the final round, to give a shout out to any team that they thought deserved special mention, whether or not they received a high number of points. And I'd just like to read those shout outs to you right now. So could we get those up on the screen, please? So Ajay Kapoor wrote that this is an incredible song that actually reminds me of my favorite EDM artist back in the day named Spongel. The use of AI to create the melody and the intonation and effects of that electric oboe line is a combination I have not seen before. So David Stuck wrote that this is one you don't want to miss. Gaetana Jarris was impressed by their online tool that allows you to create your very own song. So Wu Jingrong wrote that this project, a father's lullaby for his daughter, is inherently creative in its vision and beautifully executed. While artificially created, the lullaby is organic sounding, appropriately minimal, and very human at its core. So Gaetana Jarris also listed this entry as a personal favorite. So about our audience favorite Pamp, Mark Simos wrote that with striking similarities to the entry Coco from last year, this project represents an intriguing experiment in adapting current AI technologies to specific regional folk music traditions. The team thoughtfully faced challenges of applying generalist AI resources to a stylistically coherent, ethnographically well-defined corpus in an unsupported language, achieving an evocative, oracular quality. Pablo Castro also cited this as a personal favorite. Elaine Chu wrote that this is a silly, sexy song performed with great sincerity. So Portrait XO wrote that she really appreciated this team challenging biases and creating such an interactive way to make music with AI that involves body movement tracking. Max Savage wrote that he loved this entry, that a lot of thought and work went into the piece, and that it just sounds great. Vincent Copes wrote that BHC found an incredibly impressive way of solving the hard problem of synthesizing natural-sounding singing voices, which seamlessly blend into the bright and very catchy 90s sounds of the track. Caroline Pegram wrote that this is the AI music at its death metal best. And finally, David Stuke cited this song as his personal favorite, 93 Degrees.
So next up, we have a discussion with some of our jury members of the AI Song Contest, and this will be hosted by Rujing and Anna remotely. So Anna and Rujing, please take it away.
Yes, thank you so much, Ryan and Ashley, for all the shout-outs. Just checking to see if we have jury members in the room. I think Gus, yes, any moment. And check if Gus is
Yes,
here.
he's in the room. He just joined.
Oh.
Hey, Anna. Hey,
Hello.
hey.
Hi, Gus.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow, nice.
so
Okay. I should have my background.
maybe we should get started since we tight on time. So let's jump ahead. So welcome everyone to our jury discussion, and my name is Rujing Stacy Huang. I'm one of the co-organizers of the AI Song Contest. I'm a musicologist by training, also practicing singer-songwriter. Recently started a creative music studio in Hong Kong called Project Grand. Otherwise, I'm also a full-time postdoc researcher based at the University of Hong Kong. Welcome. So Anna, maybe you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Anna. I'm very excited to be co-moderating this discussion with Rujing. I'm a composer and also a researcher in machine learning and human-computer interaction, a research scientist at the Magenta team, and also adjunct professor at Mila and University of Montreal.
So this year we are super lucky to have a truly diverse jury panel covering a very wide range of expertise, both in music and in AI. So today we are very excited to have quite a number of jury members with us here to discuss how they approached evaluating the various entries this year. So maybe we can start with some brief introduction from the jury members. Mark, do you want to get started?
Yeah, so I'm Mark Simos, and I am a professor in the song in the world, and also the president of the French music industry trade body called Tous pour la musique, with 29 members, which regroups everyone, all the professional organizations in France, from orchestra to manager, live producer, publisher, producers. And I'm also a teacher at EDEC, which is a well-known French school, and I teach in the Master of Science for Creative Business about entertainment.
Thank you. And finally, we have one more jury member joining us. It's Gus Shah, currently joining us from Abu Dhabi, I believe.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the invitation, Rujing and Anna. I'm Gus Xia. I'm an assistant professor in computer science at NYU Shanghai. And NYU has many portals, and now I'm at Abu Dhabi. So my research lies in automatic music composition, deep music generation, representation learning, and also computer-aided music education. Yeah, and I'm very glad to be here and listen to the awesome sounds. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome all the jury members. And so how do we evaluate an AI song entry? So not only do the jury members have to listen to the song, but they also have to read a 4-page write-up from all of your teams, all the teams that really spend a lot of time on that, to have a glimpse into their creative process, their workflow, how did they kind of push the boundary, and also the ethical considerations along the way. So now I'm going to pass it back to Rujing.
So we have a number of questions that we want to ask our judges. So I have my first question here, which is for one of our very veteran judges, Mark. So you are our judge for the second years, because you also in our jury panel last year, and we are just so happy to have you return. And I guess my first question is, how would you would compare the two judging experiences from between last year and this year, and what's different about this year's entries?
Yeah, thank you, Eugene. Well, to be honest, I have to, if I'm going to compare the experience, I have to be honest about what it was like to judge last year. As I mentioned, it was kind of an introduction to this vast world of people applying these AI tools to music composition and to songwriting. So last year I was spending a lot of time on those process descriptions and following a lot of trails to learn more about the underlying technology. This year I had a little bit better preparation for that, and I could more appreciate what people were doing. And of course, a year is a long time in the evolution of these tools. So even things like GPT-3 have evolved, over the course of the year. And so one of the things I noticed is just the sophistication of the tools themselves has advanced, but also the expertise, and I'd say even the virtuosity of some of the teams using those tools. If you study what happened with like electronic music and synthesizers, there's a period where musicians first encounter these new technologies, and then there's a period where they really make them their own and they really start using them as instruments. And I saw that happening with a lot of these teams, like engaging with the tools really at the creative level, even engaging with forcing edge conditions, kind of using the tools in ways they weren't quite designed to be used to get some interesting effects. That's what real artists do, is they always mess things up. And I was excited to see the AI researcher composer team starting to apply that. And the last thing I'll say is, and I think you heard this in 3+I team's description of their collaboration, the sense for a lot of these teams that the AI collaborator was really a presence, was really a kind of a personality. I think that's a really interesting development, and I think it's not coincidental that the contest happened right around the same time that this Google researcher announced that he thinks that one of Google's tools has become sentient. Because I think you can see in the way the songwriters related to the technology, a little bit of that sense that whether it's happening on the AI side or the human's approach to it, that sense that you are dealing with a kind of embodied being in some sense as part of the artistic process. You can see that in the content of some of the songs, and you can certainly see that in the process descriptions.
Thank you, Mark. So Jean-Christophe and Gus, this is your first time judging for the AI Song Contest for both of you. Is there anything about the overall experience that kind of surprised you? Was it judging much harder or easier than you expected? So we'll start with Gus.
Well, thanks for the question. So yeah, it's my first time, and I thought it's an easy task because I work on music AI. I thought I work on music AI for a long time, and my group helped arrange maybe the first AI arranged alma mater for ECNU in China, and so in our group we write some like the write-ups when we create the songs, something similar to that. So when I was reading those write-ups, I was surprised that some write-ups are so elegant and it overlay, because it's such a hard thing to describe clearly which part is generated by AI, which part is human made, and the most difficult part is how they two interact with each other, because the currently most AI tools are more or less like a black box. And yes, there are some research efforts, the cutting edge efforts to make the black box more interpretable so that humans can control that in a more musical manner. But many of the tools is like they are not designed this way, but
your limited, very limited knowledge of AI. So for me, the hard part was to dive into these fascinating papers that you all wrote about the process. And it was really exciting to me, really interesting. I had to be really focused, I must say. It's not something that you're doing multitasking, because for me, there was a lot of new information. But after you read some of them, you try to piece things together and it starts to make sense for you. So to me, that was really interesting. I think probably the hardest part for me. I tried to stay very candid about the songs themselves and production and arrangements and that interaction between AI and music, but then diving into exactly what the AI was doing and how it was doing it, that to me was the hardest part for sure.
Very much agree with that. And so now we're going to our next kind of section of questions. So this is a question for everyone, and some of you covered some of this already. What was the most important aspect for you when you were evaluating the AI Song Contest entries? And also, how did it impact you yourself kind of in your own work and kind of in your thinking and view on human AI co-creativity going into the future? Maybe we'll start.
Yeah, well, I guess we can start with Mark, since you started our last round too. So Mark, you have judged a lot of songwriting competitions, and I guess I'm wondering what for you makes an outstanding AI Song Contest entry. You have addressed some of this before, and I have a follow-up question, which is, as a songwriter, also professor of songwriting, what role do you think this AI in the loop approach might play in the future of songwriting, singer-songwriting? Thank you.
My was a little, if I'm coming through clear for, I think I heard the question. I'll answer what I thought I heard anyway. It's interesting, yeah. I manage a songwriting contest at Berkeley called the Songs for Social Change Contest. And although we're not evaluating songwriting in AI, it has an interesting similarity in that we're evaluating songs both on their merits as songs and for their sort of power as social change songs. So there's a little bit of this double, kind of a double agenda. We want to evaluate the song on its own merits, but you can have a song that is really a wonderful song on its own, and yet it doesn't really necessarily address that social change component. And in the same, by the same token, I think for all the judges, there was a tension in listening to these songs. You could hear a song that would just be a great song that you could totally enjoy. But when you read the description, it was important to see in some ways how the team used the mix of AI and human intervention to sort of create that. And I think it's interesting that a lot of the song entries do wind up focusing on song content that is sort of like the AI or the robot speaking in the song, or sonic aspects that kind of tell you as soon as you're listening to it that this is coming from some kind of non-human collaboration. A very different kind of contest would be to see whether you could use AI tools to create something that you couldn't distinguish from a human written song, but I don't think that's what we're really after with this contest. So I think a lot of the most challenging part of this was really, is the song pushing the innovative envelope in some way that really owes it to the way that the AI interaction with the human creators is kind of contributing to, and that's kind of what we were listening for. As far as where this goes in the future, I have a couple of thoughts about that. One is the reason that pop was my shout out is that I think that there deserves to be a contest that really focuses specifically on using AI technology for the furtherance of traditional folk idioms. And I think that that's something that's going to be increasingly important, and it's really a different agenda in some ways than just kind of applying AI to overall songwriting. And that area really excites me. It brings up ethical and cultural issues that I think are really important. I'll leave it there. So.
Thank you, Mark. It's such an intricate process, indeed. Thank you. So I guess we can go to Gus right now. Gus, what's most important to you in a great, outstanding entry for you? What are you looking for in a good entry?
Yeah. When I was judging the music, well, 4 criteria come to my mind, which are the overall musicality, the naturality, the creativity, and the interactivity between human and AI tools. And I guess for musicality and naturalness, we all have some consensus. So I will just talk about my feeling on creativity and interactivity. First is on creativity. So by creativity, I was looking at whether AI tools can help us make some music that is so new, but still sounds musical to us. You see? I mean, sometimes there's a balance between creativity and musicality. I mean, sometimes the music is so, let's say, some pattern of noise is, we can call it creative, but it's not so musical. But many cases, AI tools or our technologies can create such nice tones and feelings that is so new, even lead to new genres or forms of music, but still creative. Maybe I can come up with an example. Let me think of it. Oh, FM synthesis is an example. So that, if our AI song context could incubate some new technologies at the level of FM synthesis, Professor John Chowning, he's a musician, and he kind of have this tool of FM synthesis, of this modulation, and he invented this technology, right? And based on FM synthesis, he composed many new music, amazing music. So if this context could incubate some technology like that, I'll be very happy to see. And that's kind of one component I was looking when I was judging the pieces. Does that provide some new taste that can strive my nerves? And the second aspect I want to talk about is interactivity, and that is more like a self-reflection to me, because when I was reading the write-ups, I was asking myself, okay, the author is trying to use this in this way, and I asked myself whether I could create a better tool so that they can use the tool to better serve their purpose. And that's what I mean by interactivity, is that we should provide a tool with a nice interface to serve the composers. And that's kind of the lesson I learned from reading so many awesome write-ups. Yeah. Thanks. That's
the same, but pretty close. So what I wanted to see is what was coming from MI, which was really absolutely singular, and to what extent these singularities were actually serving a purpose. So singular, the impact of AI on this singularity, and how this singularity was actually serving a larger purpose. And we could go back to what Mark Singh was saying about culture, and how it can help you present your culture in a way that's palatable for an audience which wouldn't dive into it at all without the help of AI. So that's the kind of stories, of story arcs that I found was most interesting and most rewarding.
Agreed. Thank you, Jean-Christophe, and also all the jury members for the discussion. Now we're going to pass the mic back to Vincent. We're going to go into the really exciting part of the award ceremony.
Right. Thank you very much for that interesting discussion. I always think like this part, also last year, I think it's almost like the most interesting part, hearing the jury discussing it. It's really interesting. All right. So the jury also awarded the score up to 12 points to each song. So the winner is the song with the highest score combined, so the public score and the jury score. And I'll present the jury points one by one from the lowest public score to the highest. And remember, any team could still be a winner. All right, first one. Ada's Lullaby by Team Lulla Lullaby received 6.6 points from the jury. It's All About Me by Team Manskin Manslaget received 5.7 points. Ode to Coffee from Team Rage Against the Espresso Machine received 9.2 points, bringing them to the lead. Only If You Wanna from Team The Indie Rubbish Mice received 6.8 points from the jury. Amour Stochastique from Team Machine Forgetting received 7.9 points from the jury. And I Think from Team Popstar received 8.1 points from the jury. All right, Nuns in a Mush Pit from Databots received 9.4 points from the jury, bringing them to the lead. Nobody Knew from Team G-Zone received 7.1 points from the jury. Upfall from Team Wavy Weights and Bassy Biases received 8 points from the jury, bringing them to second place. Enter Demons and Gods from Team Ya Boy Hanoi received 10.8 points from the jury, bringing them to the lead. But it is still possible for any team to win at this point. You Can't Stop Me From Dreaming from the Little Robots received 8.2 points from the jury. We Are All Programs from Team BHC received 8.3 points from the jury. It is a very catchy song. Be With You from Team AIM 3 received 7.3 points from the jury. A to I from Team 3 plus I received 8.4 points from the jury, enough to take them to the second place. And finally, our audience favorite. They would need 9.9 points to win the contest.
Maybe Sony CSL can generate a drum roll for us.
They received 9.1. That means with a combined total of 21.1 points from the voters and the jury favorite Enter Dragons and Demons by Ya Boy Hanoi is the winner of the AI Song Contest 2022.
There he is. Bottom left.
Many congratulations, Hanoi.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again, Hanoi, for a truly impressive entry that have clearly won the hearts and also ears of our jury members and also clearly the audience. So I guess share with us what you think right now. How you feel?
Yeah, I'm just completely lost for words. I'm just so excited to that the song spoke to so many people, both at home in Thailand, to my friends in Southeast Asia, to my friends and colleagues from all around the world, from Europe to the United States, and that it also spoke to the jury. So I'm just so excited to know that song. That means so much to me because it's an opportunity to combine, everything that I care about in music composition, in all the technical work that I do, and how to apply this to empower cultures from where I'm from my home region in Thailand and Southeast Asia, and have it resonate with so many people. That's the thing that I'm so excited about.
Speaking of culture, as a musicologist by training, I really appreciate your efforts in pushing towards what you call transcultural machine learning in music. So I guess maybe this is also the moment for you to say a few words about this vision of yours and maybe how you realize it via this amazing entry.
Of course. Thank you for that. So, transcultural is a word that I've been using that I've been really trying to push and to try to describe the work that I do. It's a idea that I've been playing around with actually for many years. I would say this idea has been like 7 to 8 years in the making. It's something that I was exploring during a gap year when I was back home in Thailand after I graduated college. And the idea behind transcultural technology or transcultural machine learning or transcultural design, transcultural engineering is this idea that at every stage of the engineering, at every stage of the design process, you design your technology in a way that brings cultures together, that you optimize the technology in a way that works across different cultures. And I like to think about this in terms of like the cultural majority and the cultural minority. A big part of what my song was trying to show was how machine learning could be made in a way that empowers the cultural majority and also the cultural minority at the same time. If you have a tool, neural audio synthesis, you can do it in a way that works for many different kinds of cultures. And in my case, like actually allow me to write music inspired by Thai tunings in a way that was just never possible before. And yeah, so that's kind of what at the heart of transcultural means. It's about empowering across cultures and using technology to bring cultures together and making sure that these systems that we design work, for the cultural majorities and the cultural minorities.
Thank you so much, Hanoi. This is so amazing. Again, congratulations, and congratulations to our top 3 teams, our finalists, and to all participating teams this year. I'll give it back to the studio, to Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks. So that's a wrap for the AI Song Contest 2022. Thank you so much to our organizers, my colleagues here. Thank you, Rebecca, for running stuff backstage for a large part of the portion. Thank you for our team online and everybody who tuned in online. Thank you very much. Wanted to thank our sponsors again. Thank you, Wallifornia. And thanks especially to our teams who have participated in the AI Song Contest. You can still listen to all the entries at aisongcontest.com. If you're interested in volunteering or organizing for next year, we're always looking for extra help. And we are, as of this year, officially a nonprofit foundation in the Netherlands, a stichting, as they say. So if you're looking to donate or sponsor, please reach out at aisongcontest@gmail.com. And
Congratulations, everyone.
I guess
Great
now
job.
it's party Zoom time.